And hello, everyone, and a huge welcome to Michael Reads. I'm just gonna get some things ready um, um, so that I can record this and bring you more content. I hope you're all doing well, and I want to wish each and every one of you a very happy festive season. It's been a great day. I hope you've managed to spend it all with your family and friends as we have. It was truly a joyous and magical occasion, as always is. And wherever you are, I hope this day has brought you peace, it's brought you rest, and a moment to reflect on uh, on the things that were most important to you as we close out the year together. Is it possible, please, if you could let me know just by putting a little comment on there whether the sound is coming through well or not? I would greatly appreciate that. And thank you for taking your time to be here with me. Right, so if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm really glad you have found your way here. And if you've been with me since the beginning of this journey, a big welcome back. Your continued presence and support mean more than I can put into words. Before we begin, I would like to ask for your support, please. If everyone visiting the channel could simply subscribe and hit the like button, it would make a huge difference. As well, if you feel that the content shared is of value to you or at least provokes your curiosity, uh, please share with those closest to you so that they too may benefit from this content. Um, these actions really they would unlock a lot more opportunities for the channel to grow and to make it easier for me to continue creating thoughtful, meaningful content for all of us. As we continue to grow together through books, through reflection and shared understanding, today I'd like to introduce you to chapter 13 of The Art of War by Sun Tzu. It is the final chapter. I can hardly believe that we've reached this point. It feels like just the other day that we started on this book here on Michael Reads. And within this book, Sun Tzu has left us enough wisdom to carry us through any situation we may face. If we truly put his teachings into practice, we can move through life with the same clarity, discipline, and quiet confidence that led his armies to victory. Um, Before we step into the final chapter, let's take a moment to reflect on what we covered in chapter 12, the attack by fire. Sun Tzu is not just speaking about external conflict, he's speaking directly to the inner battlefield. Fire in this chapter represents raw energy, our impulses, our urges, our intrusive thoughts, the habits and emotional reactions that rise up suddenly and attempt to take control. With respect to consciousness, this chapter presents the perspective that when we act unconsciously, when we react instead of respond, we allow this fire to burn unchecked. This is often how bad habits form and how intrusive thoughts gain strength. Not because they're powerful, but because they are left unobserved. Sun Tzu reminds us that fire must be controlled and not suppressed. In personal growth, for example, this is a vital lesson. Fighting thoughts aggressively often makes them stronger, but observing them calmly without attachment reduces their influence. Uh, if you'd like to take it from a spiritual point of view, um, chapter 12 points us towards self awareness and self mastery. When we become conscious of our emotional triggers, our cravings, self doubt, they lose their authority over us. Awareness itself becomes the extinguisher. In the journey of personal development, this chapter speaks directly to the moments where we feel inferior to our own ideas or aspirations. That that inner voice that says you're not ready, or you're not capable, or this is just too much. This is fire without discipline. If you leave that unchecked, it consumes confidence. Um, Guided with awareness, it becomes fuel for growth. Sun Tzu warns against acting from anger or urgency because such actions drain energy rather than direct it. Uh, in the same way, growth does not come from forcing change, but from consistent conscious restraint. Chapter 12 ultimately teaches us this, that you do not win the inner battle by attacking yourself, you win by mastering your reactions. When fire is guided by awareness, it becomes light. When left unconscious, it becomes destruction. Okay, with that brief recap of chapter 12, this brings us to chapter 13, the use of spies. It's the final chapter, and yeah, you know um, it's sad that we've got to this point, but um, it's been enlightening and fulfilling. And as we now move into this chapter, um, the battlefield shifts once again. This time it's entirely inward. In chapter 12, he taught us how to contain the fire within. Chapter 13 more teaches us how to understand the mind that creates it. On the surface, Sun Tzu speaks about spies and intelligence, but at a deeper level, this chapter is about self observation. In the journey of consciousness and personal growth, the greatest intelligence we can gather is awareness of our own inner patterns, our habits, our triggers, the thoughts that quietly sabotage us before we ever take action. Intrusive thoughts, they often operate like unseen enemies. They whisper doubt, they question our worth, they convince us that our ideas are bigger than we are. Sun Tzu reminds us that battles are rarely lost because of lack of strength, they're lost because of lack of insight. Chapter 13 will teach us to become observers of our own mind, to notice when a thought arises, to question where it comes from, and to recognize whether it serves growth or simply repeats old conditioning, or we just fall into the old habits. Um, uh, in personal development, this is the moment where we stop fighting blindly and start gathering intelligence. We learn which habits drain our energy, which thoughts keep us small, and which beliefs no longer belong to who we are becoming. Spiritually, chapter 13 could be seen as an invitation to deepen awareness. Um, when we see clearly, fear loses its grip. When we understand our patterns, they no longer control us. This this final chapter reminds us that the most powerful form of victory is clarity before action. When we know ourselves, we are no longer at war with our own potential. With that, let's step into the book and let's go through the chapter, and afterwards, I would like to just give some closing thoughts of what I thought of the book as a whole. Um, but I am open to um, any questions that you may put, if you can put them on the chat. And yeah, feel free to make any comments, smash the like button, share this uh, with your loved ones, and let's go into chapter 13, the use of spies. Sun Tzu said, raising a host of 100,000 men and marching them great distances entails heavy loss on the people and a drain on the resources of the state. The daily expenditure will amount to 1,000 ounces of silver. There will be commotion at home and abroad, and men will drop down exhausted on the highways. As many as 700,000 families will be impeded in their labor. Hostile armies may face each other for years, striving for the victory which is decided in a single day. This being so, to remain in ignorance of the enemy's condition simply because one grudges the outlay of 100 ounces of silver in honors and emoluments is the height of inhumanity. One who acts thus is no leader of men, no present help to his sovereign, no master of victory. Thus, what enables the wise sovereign and the good general to strike and conquer and achieve things beyond the reach of ordinary men is foreknowledge. Now, this foreknowledge cannot be elicited from spirits. It cannot be obtained inductively from experience, nor by any deductive calculation. Knowledge of the enemy's dispositions can only be obtained from other men. Hence, the use of spies, of whom there are 5 classes: local spies, inward spies, converted spies, doomed spies, surviving spies. When these 5 kinds of spy are all at work, none can discover the secret system. This is called divine manipulation of the threads. It is the sovereign's most precious faculty. Having local spies means employing the services of the inhabitants of a district. Having inward spies, making use of officials of the enemy. Having converted spies, getting hold of the enemy's spies and using them for our own purposes. Having doomed spies, doing certain things openly for purposes of deception, and allowing our own spies to know of them and report them to the enemy. Surviving spies, finally, are those who bring back news from the enemy's camp. Hence, it is that with none of in the whole army are more intimate relations to be maintained than with spies. None should be more liberally rewarded. In no other business should greater secrecy be preserved. Spies cannot be usefully employed without a certain intuitive sagacity. They cannot be properly managed without benevolence and straightforwardness. Without subtle ingenuity of mind, one cannot make certain of the truth of their reports. Be subtle, and use your spies for every kind of business. If a secret piece of news is divulged by a spy before the time is ripe, he must be put to death together with the man to whom the secret was told. Whether the object be to crush an army, to storm a city, or to assassinate an individual, it is always necessary to begin by finding out the names of the attendants, the aides de camp, the doorkeepers, and sentries of the general in command. Our spies must be commissioned to ascertain these. The enemy's spies who have come to spy on us must be sought out, tempted with bribes, led away, and comfortably housed. Thus, they will become converted spies and available for our service. It is through the information brought by the converted spy that we are able to acquire and employ local and inward spies. It is owing to his information, again, that we can cause the doomed spy to carry false tidings to the enemy. Lastly, it is by his information that the surviving spy can be used on appointed occasions. The end and aim of spying is, in all its five varieties, is knowledge of the enemy, and this knowledge can be derived in the first instance from the converted spy. Hence, it is essential that the converted spy be treated with the utmost liberality. Of old, the rise of the Yin dynasty was due to the one Qi who had served under the Hasia. Likewise, the rise of the Zhou dynasty was due to Lu Ya, who had served under the Yin. Hence, it is only the enlightened ruler and the wise general who will use the highest intelligence of the army for purposes of spying, and thereby they achieve great results. Spies are a most important element in war because on them depends an army's ability to move. Wow, that brings the end to the chapter. Um, wow. I've compiled some final thoughts here about the book as a whole. Um, and as we've come to the end of it, to me, this is just my opinion. You're always welcome to yours. It just becomes clear that this book was never truly about more war. It was about the human mind. Sun Tzu did not leave us a manual for destruction. He left us a guide for self mastery, for awareness and conscious action. Throughout these chapters, we've seen the same lesson repeated in many forms. Like victory does not belong to the strongest, the loudest, or the most aggressive. It belongs to the most aware. From the beginning, Sun Tzu taught us to understand ourselves before we attempt to understand the world. He showed us that discipline is not, it's not restriction, but is more a freedom. That preparation is peace, and that knowing when not to act is often the highest form of wisdom. Uh, on the path to personal growth, this book, it reminds us that the greatest battles are not external. They're fought quietly against fear, doubt, distraction, and the habits that pull us away from our highest intentions. Spiritually, the art of war teaches us presence. When we see clearly, we suffer less. When we respond consciously rather than react emotionally, we regain control of our energy and direction. Sun Tzu always reminds us that force is never the goal, clarity is. When we understand our thoughts, our triggers, and our patterns, we no longer waste energy fighting ourselves. This book, it asks us to stop seeing life as something to conquer and start seeing it as something to navigate with intelligence and with care. As we close this journey, um, you know, of the art of war, uh, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself questions like, where in your life are you fighting unnecessarily? Um, where could awareness replace effort? And what would change if you approached your inner world with the same strategy, patience, and respect that Sun Tzu demanded on the battlefield? If you carry even a small part of these teachings forward into your thoughts, into your habits, your relationships, your decisions, your business, you'll find that you move through life with more calm, um, with more confidence, and with the most important thing, with clarity. So, with that, I would like to say thank you for walking this path with me. Um, Thank you for reflecting, questioning, and growing alongside these teachings. I thank you for your messages. I thank you for your feedback. I thank you so much for just taking your time, whether you spent a minute watching um, any of my content, or just simply subscribing, liking. I really appreciate that. Until we meet again through another book, I have put in my communities page. Um, you know, when we meet again, you know, uh, keep an eye out for those posts. Um, as we have some books to go through that are going to be absolutely great. They're going to mess with our minds a bit more, um, and they're going to help us grow in wisdom. So, yeah, keep an eye out for what's coming next. If you could please push those notification buttons. But until then, stay conscious, stay disciplined, and let's all strive to keep reading. Thank you, and have a great 2026 from me here, Michael Rees. Take care. Ciao.